It is common knowledge that ours is a business of the body. How to exercise, what to exercise, frequency, intensity, time. It is why our clients seek our expertise. But did you know that there is one deciding factor that holds the key to a successful workout regimen, and it resides completely in your head? What workout speaks to you? Today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Believe it or not, no client truly comes to us for a physical problem. Now, I probably said that several times in podcasts. I know I've said that in many consults and definitely in any kind of speaking opportunity. Early on, I realized this. Though everyone states a physical goal as a reason for seeking our services, behind every one of those physical goals is a much more important reason, which pretty well unequivocally motivates the client to make a physical change. I have as many examples of this as I do clients, but one of my favorite and most vivid examples of this was a grandmother who had never exercised and called us seeking, as she said, strength and weight loss. Now, the reason this is such a vivid example is rarely, no, I shouldn't say rarely, but not all the time, does somebody mention the mental reason for the physical goal in their consultation. And a lot of times we do figure it out, but it's not always mentioned there. We talked long enough, and really because she was new to this, she'd never actually exercised or worked out before. So she was interviewing us and interviewing the whole process since she never actually worked out. But she called us and she said, strength and weight loss. I'm not really sure where she got those names and goals, but that's what she was after. Well, after sharing a copious amount of fears with me, she finally stated her real reason for calling. I mean, that was what's interesting. This is in the phone call, and she finally fessed up, I guess you'd say. After having many granddaughters, she was the proud new grandparent, once again, of her first grandson. And she was interested in getting in shape strictly because she could not get on the floor to play with him. And that was the whole reason she contacted us. Now, yes, and a physical accomplishment she wanted to do, but the main thing she wanted to do was getting on the floor with her grandson. And the reason I bring this up is that to show you the difference, show you what we're really trying to change, what we're really trying to make a difference. And this is why our mission statement is we seek to make people feel better about them being themselves, and we look for everyone's level of wellness, is because it's all really between our ears. I mean, how you feel about yourself, and if you want to drop 20 pounds, that's because you feel like you're 20 pounds overweight. You feel like you're not happy where you are. And usually when we pick out numbers, I want to bench press this much, I want to lose this amount of weight, they're arbitrary. They may have a special meaning, as in the reason I want to lose 20 pounds is when I was exactly 185 instead of 205, I was this person. And you can start off by saying I was smaller, but it was back when I was doing this and I was this type of person. And I remember, in my mind, that is the perfect me. And so many times it's what else was going on in your life at that time. Also, what were your experiences? What were you able to do? What made you feel better about being yourself? Many clients come to us weight loss, but are motivated by loved ones. They may think loved ones see them as less of a person, less of a man, less of an attractive lady. It may make them just feel less about themselves. Some are motivated by a fear due to the death of a relative from a health problem they may seem to be tracking towards. They may have lost a relative to heart disease or to complications related to diabetes. And they went to their doctor recently, and the doctor told them, hey, look, you're kind of getting to the area of pre-diabetic. And that pre-diabetic hits them a lot harder than it would somebody that just knows what diabetes is, but doesn't have a family member that's actually suffered through it or possibly passed away. Again, physical changes that need to be made, yes, but a mental reason behind it. Now, I've actually done a podcast off this. In fact, it was the first podcast that I did. And I talked about everybody works out for the exact same reason, and that is they're seeking to feel better about being themselves. And we're very proud that that's our goal. No matter what you may be after, that is our goal. We want to make you feel better about being yourself because that's the whole reason you come. We want to help you find your level of wellness. And your level of wellness is very unique to you. It's the reason we say also that we have as many different programs as we do clients. And a lot of people find that surprising, or I would guess that maybe people think that that's just a great sales pitch. but it's true. Though we have workouts that are similar, though we have people that lift the same weights, though we have some people that have to have the same type of correction, though we have some people that go at it similarly, every program in some way, shape, or form is different. And it's all in how it speaks to the person, which goes back to the head. Now, we come and chase a physical goal because of the motivations in our head, the motivations that drive us because we don't feel as good about ourselves. We want to feel better about ourselves. But that also plays into the success of the workout. And that's why I titled this podcast, What Workout Speaks to You? Many times, and I'm sure this is not foreign to anyone, but many times I get the question of, what's the best cardio to do? What's the best fitness program to do? Isn't it better to do free weights instead of machines? Or don't you think that HIIT workout is far better? Don't you think that this modality is far better than this other modality? Isn't swimming the best thing? Don't you think I should be doing yoga? All of those, as long as they're not, as you've heard me say, illegal, immoral, or fattening, are fine. They're great. They're wonderful. Is one necessarily better than the other? Well, if we want to get out our compasses and our beakers and test tubes and calipers and what have you, and we want to try to figure out what exercise generally, when conducted, burns more calories than the amount of time, or compare a time of day that we think that on average people are at their peak energy level, are most responsive to exercise, or the mechanics of lifting a free weight or doing a body weight exercise versus the simplicity of a machine because it lowers the muscular involvement of secondary muscle groups. We could do that. We really could do that. At the end of the day, you would do exactly what everyone does when they find out that incredible answer. What is the best? They may try that, but if it doesn't speak to them, if it doesn't make sense to their head, they quit. I'll give you a great example. And I want to put big parentheses around what I'm about to tell you because it's what a lot of people call the best exercise. It's one that I happen to do, but it's not because it's the quote-unquote best exercise for you. And by the way, there's no answer to that question. The best exercise is the one that actually you do. That is the answer to that question. I'll do an entire podcast on that because that's very significant. It can be the fastest car in the world. If you can't drive it, it's the worst car for you. It's the slowest car for you. The same thing about a workout. But one that you hear quite often, swimming. Rarely does somebody say that swimming is just bad for you. I guess within an hour after you had lunch, your mother might have told you that was bad. But other than that, you're not usually going to hear that swimming is this low impact. It works the full body and you stay cool, whatever. And that's why it's the quote unquote best exercise. Well, something very interesting about that. And that's an exercise I do. And it's not because it's the quote unquote regarded as the best exercise. Go try to find a private commercial gym that's been built in the last, 5, 6, 7, 10 years maybe. Go find how many of those have pools. That's not a hospital-based facility or some nonprofit facility that doesn't have to worry about making money. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a commercial facility that has a pool. Why? Extremely expensive to maintain. Well, so is a gym. A gym is extremely expensive to maintain. Believe it or not, a treadmill can be extremely expensive to maintain. If everybody were using it, it wouldn't be a problem. That's the thing. Nobody does. Very few people. And if you're listening to this and you're a swimmer, hey, I am too. I'm not taking anything away from you. But the point I'm making is that I said earlier that people may get their calipers out and beakers and test tubes and try to figure out what the best exercise is. But then they're going to turn around and most likely not do it. And swimming is a wonderful example of that. Now, I said at the beginning of this that I swim. And it's not because my workout happens to be so far better than everybody else's. My clients know that I say this on a regular basis, that I don't exercise. I take Dextrim like normal people or Slim Fast or whatever, which is an absolute lie. But it's a joke I make. The reason I swim is that I have a major passion for it. I absolutely love to swim. Swimming to me is like running is to a runner. And if you are a runner that is just enjoys the nirvana of running, you understand what I mean. Swimming is that to me. I received some bad news from a bank when I was trying to buy a building. I got an insult from them as far as I was concerned, and I couldn't believe what they told me. And so I got so mad, I went and swam a 5K. And I don't think I'd ever gotten in a pool. I'd done it in open water, but gotten in a pool and actually swam a 5K. That's because I knew it would make me feel better. That's how much I like swimming. Not bragging, being braggadocious about my workout, but this is the point I'm making. We come to a trainer to make a difference, and it's usually something in our heads. It's something that we're trying to change, and we're doing it through a physical means. Well, in order to get to solving that problem, you've got to look to what works in your head as far as a workout's concerned. And you've gotten a little bit of a taste of this. It was hard to put this into words to describe exactly a definition for a workout that speaks to you. But basically, you hear people arguing sometimes, or discussing, but sometimes arguing about workouts. Oh, no, the best thing in the world is XYZ, CrossFit, yoga, HIIT training, free weights, running, biking, whatever. And many times in these discussions, you'll quit everything else and do Pilates. Quit everything else and do this. This is usually what you're hearing people's passions. And unless you're hearing them speaking about an exercise or some kind of modality that is illegal, immoral, or fattening, most likely they're talking about a good exercise. But it happens to be the one that speaks to them. It's the one they either like to do. Like I tell clients that when they're starting with us, we're going to find, because we spend a lot of time in our evaluation, and not only in our interview, the initial consultation, and then the first interview with the trainer, and the first few workouts, the trainer is trying to learn what speaks to you. I have everything my trainers can possibly need in our facilities, but they're looking for, how does this person like to work out? And they may never have worked out before, but there's something, like we tell everybody, that is you either like or you don't mind, or if nothing else, you find the least offensive. And that's the way we train that person. And I'm going to show you today several examples of what I'm talking about. And when I was listing these, I probably could list a ton of them. And I'm sure that at some point in time, I'm going to have to name all of these because they're all different types of workouts or ways of working out or ideas, I guess you'd say, themes for working out that I've noticed in my career that speak to a client. And I'm hoping that maybe I cover yours in here. One thing to define it. One thing to let you know, hey, it's okay. And when you're getting in a rut, remember, go back to what speaks to you and stay around that area. It doesn't mean don't try something else. But if you try something, you're not good at it, you don't like it, you're making yourself go and you're not going, and gosh, you're beating yourself up because your good friend does this and does incredible results and you're just not doing well. You're not a good exerciser. You don't care about your health because you're not making yourself go do this particular exercise that you don't like. Remember, it's got to work for your head. It's got to speak to you. Now, I'm going to use a very popular one to start off with, and it's a HIIT style workouts. It's very, very popular right now. High intensity interval training. Now, high intensity interval training, I did a podcast about this. It's nothing new. It's been around since, Lord, at least it's been around 30 years because I've been doing high intensity interval training for at least that long. And when we learned that you could exhaust the body by supersetting opposing muscles or supersetting a muscle with another muscle that is not involved in it whatsoever, like doing it, the very, very simple superset would be an upper body, lower body. When the upper body's recovering after a set, you go right to a lower body exercise. That's basic HIIT training. And HIIT training is usually abbreviated. In other words, we don't typically, you can, but you don't typically do HIIT training for a long, long, long time, an hour or 2 hours, whatever. And you don't get me wrong, some people do, but the idea of high intensity interval training, at least now, and doing Tabata type training and controlled sets of reps that are done at a certain pace, usually you can do what I call, I see the end. In fact, I call these workouts, I see the end. I see the end workouts really speak to me. Okay, I'm going to have to do so many sets of those and so many reps of each one of those, and I'm not going to get any break, and I get to go move straight from that exercise over to this exercise, and I'm going to have so many of those, and I've got, of the entire superset, I'm going to have to do 4, 5, 10 of those. But once I check all those boxes, once I do, I'm done. I can see the end of the workout. And for many people, it's motivating because they're starting off, if it's a 10-set program, at the end of 10 sets, they're done. They're going 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9, 8, 8, 8, 7, 7, 7. They are counting down. They're looking forward to the end. It motivates them to keep going. If I just keep pushing, I'll finish this. And that's why I see the end workouts. You've got others. Now, these are going to sound similar, but they're actually different. I see the end workouts speak to a HIIT personality. I may be exhausted, but I see the end. You've got your sweat workouts. Now, I see this a lot in males. I see this a lot typically in now more of a senior, actually past 50, 60 years old, 60-year-old and up. I see this in my more senior clientele. It's called the sweat. The only success workout, I call it. The only success, you have to sweat. If you have not sweat, you have not worked out, period. I have a particular client that has been with me for years. He's impressive in his training, and he's in his 80s. He's still in great shape. I remember watching him when I was younger, grew up in the same town, and seeing him exercising, and I just was just so impressed with what he did. He still has that same thought process now, but he has to sweat. I mean, sweat equals success. And whenever he tells me about something he did on an off day, man, I had a great workout. Every time it's a great workout. And then he starts telling me about the cardiovascular work that he did, because cardiovascular work, especially the way he does it, makes him sweat. Well, that's an old wives' tale that you actually have to sweat. Now, I'm not saying avoid sweating, but sweat is not a measurement of intensity. It isn't. And actually, sweat's a measurement of how well hydrated you are. You know, intensity also, yes, but it's also well hydrated you are. Muhammad Ali, in one of his last fights, was going around for, 9, 10 rounds or whatever, and didn't sweat at all. Didn't mean he wasn't working hard. He was not hydrated. So it means hydration, but that speaks to people. You know, my shirt's wet, I'm damp, I'm sweating profusely. I have worked out. Strong. If it is to be, it has to be heavy. Now, I have subtitles for each one of these, you can tell. I call it strong. And that usually, again, I see this in guys, and that is that, you know, if I'm going to lift, have to be heavy. I've got to lift heavy. I'm not working out if I don't lift heavy. One of my best friends that I got my master's degree with was a power lifter, and I got introduced to the powerlifting style workout through this particular individual. And he was getting his master's degree in athletic training at the time, and we would go to the gym to work out, and he would be there for, the longest time. I mean, he would do a set, and then he would wait, 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes, and then do another one. Now, you hear the way I'm talking about this. I'm not talking about this, oh man, he waited 5 minutes, it was great. I'm almost begrudgingly telling you the time. Well, obviously that workout doesn't speak to me, but we have clients that it does. Slinging big steel. If it's going to be, it's got to be heavy. That's a strong workout. You've got your endurance nirvana, or the I get high on endorphins. Now, this has always been there with runners. But it became very popular with the aerobic crowd. Really in the 80s. 80s was your height of aerobics. I mean, that's when Physical by Olivia Newton-John came out. And there were aerobic-only studios. I mean, there were fitness centers that were nothing but aerobics. And every big gym had an aerobic studio, had a big room that was just wide open and empty. Lord, there were movies made about it. I think John Travolta was in, and Jamie Lee Curtis were in an aerobic-type movie or something. Anyway, it was very, very popular during that time in the 80s. And you would see a lot of people that would get out on the floor, and they were motivated by the music. They were motivated by the instructor. And I remember being at one particular facility, and there was a lady who would do a class, and then she would basically kind of bounce around on the floor, continuing to move, waiting on the next class to start. And everybody thought it funny. They looked out there, wow, she still just kind of bounced around, almost like the class is still going. What was happening? It's easy to explain. She was high on endorphins. Just like if you're a runner, and you just love to run. You can't stand to miss your run. It's not so much about speed. It's not so much about pace. It's not so much about just exercise. You love to run. I have a few clients. I have one that comes to mind. Running is nirvana to him. And I understand it. He understands it, which is even more valuable. The fact that he understands why he does what he does, because now he's using that tool for the right thing. But it actually, part of it is an endorphin release. This is a wonderful chemical that we've never been able to replicate, that our body does produce, and actually it's that runner's high. It's a feeling you get it from running, you get it from any kind of cardiovascular exercise or something, prolonged exercise. It's the reason a lot of times you feel better after you work out, but you have an endorphin release, and that's what actually calms you down. It's a drug. It's okay. It's perfectly healthy. But that is the endurance nirvana, and many people feel like they have not worked out unless they've hit that endurance nirvana. This is different, believe it or not, than what I call escape. Now, escape is interesting. Escape can be very good and is heavily, heavily encouraged. In the movie What Women Want with Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt, they were doing an ad for Nike, and they were talking about this woman running, and they started narrating it. And they were talking about how the road doesn't judge you, the road doesn't complain, the road doesn't need anything. It's just there. It's just for you. It was an escape type commercial they were putting together. It made a lot of sense. I was wondering if Nike ever actually picked up and ran with that commercial. But that was what they were talking about. They were talking about the escape of exercise. Now, this happened to be running. People get it through lifting. They get it through a myriad of modalities. The modality is not as important. The escape is what's important. And it's the only place I feel free, some people say. It's the only place I can really turn off my brain, some people say. And the escape is heavily encouraged. It's the reason why exercise is recommended for stress. But escape can be, I won't say bad, but let's say a red flag, because it can be also turned into what we call justification. Now, it is a way of escape, but it's not the same. It is another type of exercise. And when you get to full justification, the justification can be bad. I don't really know that justification can be good. What I mean by justification is, for an addict, somebody that that's an alcoholic, somebody that's a drug addict, and there's one other too, which is far more prevalent. Exercise can be used as justification. There happened to be a judge in the town where I was training, and he ran 6 miles a day. It didn't matter what the weather was. No matter the temperature, no matter the rain, no matter the lightning. At noon, every day, he ran 6 miles. And many people foolishly thought, well, he just loves to run. He's just a heck of an exerciser. Wow, he's dedicated. No, he happened to be an alcoholic. And what he was doing was he was justifying his lifestyle, basically in his head. And we see this quite often. If I can do this, then I don't have a problem. Now, I'm careful about saying that because I don't want to step on anybody's toes. But at the same time, it wouldn't be bad to recognize that, because it's a cry for help. And justification can be used for drug addiction. It can be used for any kind of problems, especially addictions. And the most common is overeating. Those that overeat, well, I worked out today, I'm okay. You have that on a regular basis of, I ate too much last night, so I'm going to work out in the morning. That's, every once in a while, hey, I understand that. But when it's all the time, when it's, as I've seen in my career, it's done to the point of very adamant, very controlling about the exercises, don't want to miss it. We're justifying a problem of overeating. And therefore, there are other problems in our life that's causing us to do that. That's just another form of addiction. You've got to check the box. And check the box, I have a confession story that speaks about a client of mine I refer to as Dave. And Dave is a fantastic story. And Dave was one of the very few people that I know of that actually set his mind to his task of hitting his level of wellness and hit it. I mean, it's an interesting story because there was no fanfare whatsoever. There was no reason for celebration. He just put his mind to it and did it. But Dave does a very check-the-box workout. And that is, okay, you tell me what boxes I need to check. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to feel, I know that I've done my task. I've completed it. I feel better about myself because I've gone in and I've checked all those boxes. And it's a check-the-box workout. Typically, this person is not interested in setting any major goals. It's not physical changes, or what I mean by goals is I'm going to go from 200 to 220 to 225 on the bench press. I'm not interested in, doing a plyo jump from, instead of 24 inches going up to 42 inches. They're not setting those kind of goals. Instead, they want to make sure they've done that exercise if it is required of them. They've covered all the bases on the different exercises if that's required of them. They've spent the time in the facility as needed and did the recommended amount of cardiovascular work. They have checked the box. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's another type of motivation, another type of workout that speaks to you. One of the others is the correction. And the correction I'm a little concerned about. And we try to find this very quickly. We try to not allow the correction type of workout to continue. It's not that we stop somebody, but we try to identify what's driving them. The correction, you see this, hairstylists see this a lot. Somebody sits in a chair and just tell them a myriad of problems that they're having, some kind of major traumatic thought process, whether it's a lady who is divorced and now she's heard that her ex-husband's getting married and she's hurt by that, or a guy that loses a job or loses, typically a lot of times it's a close relationship, he loses a mate, as in, lady says, Jack, I'm out of here. I just don't want to be with you anymore. They want to improve themselves, so they'll, ladies change their hairstyles. Guys will do that too, but many of them will start working out. They'll start working out. Sometimes they kind of get in good shape because they're trying to find another mate, but also they're trying to change something, show some kind of control. I can control my body. I can lose 20 pounds. I can get stronger. I can do something because something else in their life is out of control. And it's not that we want to stop people that are going through the correction. We just want them to help identify what they're actually trying to fix. Because that hairstyle, that new look, that 20 pounds, it's not going to solve your real problem. Though we can use the endorphins, we can use aspects of it to lower your level of stress. That is not going to fix the problem. And I'd much rather identify and fix the problem. Now, these are just a few of them, and there's probably a ton more. I wouldn't say a million more, but several more. I think these were the most important. I hope that I may have hit or touched on what type of workout, what kind of working out speaks to you. Now, I didn't mention actual modalities. Does that mean yoga? Does that mean Pilates? What really the modalities? It's just the type, it's the idea, it's the concept or the theme behind the exercise. And leave you with this. Using that tool of finding what type, what workout speaks to you is going to lead you to a successful program. Making sure that your trainer understands that is extremely important, and the reason we do the consults the way we do. Because at the end of the day, just like I said in the first podcast, we're all searching for your level of wellness. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.